up? Back for 3.
I haven't done a video in a while because I haven't had anything really relevant to say. You know, every time I make these videos, I want to try to make something entertaining and humorous. We can all laugh along. And frankly, my entire comment section has been nothing but this Olympic issue with the dudes beating up women. And I've had done 3 videos talking about that. What else am I going to say? You know, but luckily we do have some comments that are pretty humorous, and I thought we could get a good laugh about that. I wanted to do a quick update. I'm doing a lot of boxing videos, as you've noticed, and I suck at boxing. And people are like, "Well, why are you? What's going on? Are you not powerlifting anymore?" Oh, yeah, we're training to compete, baby. I'm gonna train. I'm gonna compete locally here in September on the 8th, where I'm gonna try to set the national records for 220 at the age of 50. And then I'm going to compete in October, hopefully with Cephas and Tommy H. So that's the plan. Funding might be an issue, so I'm trying to save as much money as possible. Stuff's expensive, and I don't have any sponsors. So now the reason why I've been focusing on boxing is because I needed a deload. I'm struggling with lifting. Let's put it that way. I haven't really lost too much strength, but I'm not really making any gains. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't had my heart in it this last couple of weeks. I think the oppressive heat wave that's going on in Vegas here and the amount of hours I've been working are taking its toll. And I just, for the first time in my life, I've just been not loving it, not loving training at all. But I've been having a blast training with my kids, doing the boxing thing. It's just been fun. But unfortunately, it's one of those things where it's like you can't serve 2 masters. So if I'm going to train to compete, I have to focus on that. And the boxing has always been to maintain my weight class. That's how I do my cardio. But now that I'm training with a professional trainer and I'm actually starting to make progress, we're discussing me possibly doing a fight. Could you imagine? Yeah. So, you guys remember Herschel Walker? Herschel Walker. Oh, man. What was it? At the age of 52, I think, he decided to become a professional MMA fighter. And you could say, well, that was a different era. A guy could potentially do okay, and he didn't fight anybody of note. I think they set up a couple of tomato can fights for him to do professionally, but they were nobody spectacular. And did he win both of those? I think he did 2 or 3, and I remember he won at least one of them. Nothing like that, you know. Realistically, if Herschel Walker was to throw his hat in the ring today with today's rules and the way that they fight and their abilities, I don't think he would have done very well. But back then, man, when it was the Wild Wild West, hell yeah. But no, I mean, I do want to train to actually do a sanctioned fight, for sure. But I don't have no illusions, you know. I mean, like, I'm not, you're not going to, there's no way I'm going to be ever, I wouldn't consider it's just, I can't even, the idea of me becoming a fighter at the age of 50 is probably not a great idea, but I would be a liar if I didn't say that there was a part of me that didn't really want to do it, just because I'm having so much fun. I think what it is I'm training with my kids, so we're learning the same things together. And watching them grow, and watching them get excited, and them get really good at it, and then, you know, the progress I'm making, and we're all doing it together as a family. It's just a lot of fun, and I'm having a blast with it. And the fact that I don't know what I'm doing, every time I learn something new, it's exciting. You know, we're lifting. You know, I've been doing heavy lifting for a decade now, and what really what are you going to do that's groundbreaking? You might learn a new technique or something that adds a few pounds to a lift, but essentially it's just put weight on a bar, pick it up, heavy, find a way to put 5 more pounds on it, rinse and repeat. It's the same thing. You can spice up your workouts by doing different exercises and, mixing your training up from volume to high intensity. But when it all boils down, the cake recipe is pretty much the same. It's, like I said, put weight on a bar, try to pick more up. There's just not too many creative and exciting new ways to do that. Luckily, I enjoy weightlifting. It's like meditation for me. So that'll always be there. But, it's hard on the body. Training for competition is very, very hard on the body. And every time I finish a competition, I go through that little phase where I back off and I lose a bunch of strength, and then, it comes right back. But it's that getting back into it is like every time it gets a little harder. It's like waking up in the morning. You get up and you're like, you get out of bed and everything's tight. You go, I got another day of this garbage. And then once you get the day going, you get into it, it becomes fun. You do your thing, but it's that initial getting started part. Ugh, it's just grueling, just thinking about it. So that's where I'm at right now, is the kickoff point, and I need to commit and get going. I did 1 week of training and then just decided, I just need a deload, and now I'm just not super excited about getting back into it. But I am going to do it starting Monday. We're diving in 110%. I don't do anything half-hearted. I either do it all the way or I don't do it at all. So, but yeah, if I'm being completely honest with you, I'm just not excited about it. Not like I usually am. One thing I've noticed, a lot of people have been commenting. They're like, wow, you're a really good dad. I wish I had a dad like you. You do stuff with your kids. And, I didn't have that growing up. And I always feel embarrassed when people say that, because I don't really see myself as a good father at all. I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. But one thing, I feel like I'm the biggest kid on the playground. When my kids are doing stuff, I want to be out there doing it with them. When we're doing like sports, I notice a lot. You got the dads that are on the sideline and they're overly critical and they get mad at the referees when there's a bad call, and they're yelling and screaming, and they're, telling their sons, when he does something wrong, and you see him disheartedly walking back to the huddle. And I never want to be that guy. You know what I mean? If they're not having fun doing it, I feel like they should be doing something else. You're a kid, have fun. But I also want them to commit and learn to be excellent. And that requires someone pushing them. So then it comes down to, well, what's the proper way to do that? How do I, as a dad, push my kids to be excellent without being a jerk? And I found it's do it with them. So the cool thing about the boxing is we're all learning it together. And that to me is just neat. My son's about to start playing football. That'll be interesting because I used to play. I don't know. I want to see. I don't want to go into like childhood trauma stuff, but my parents I went to any of my events ever. I don't recall them being at one single sporting event I ever went to. And I want to be there for them. Now, I got one of those jobs that doesn't allow me sometimes to participate. But if I did, I would want to be there. I don't know. I want them to, I just want to be involved. We were doing the ninja stuff, where the obstacle course. And, watching them go through that, I wanted to get out there, and I was doing it. And I couldn't help but notice there was a bunch of the parents were like looking at me like, what is this idiot doing? And then I was looking at them like, you're all just sitting there watching your kids play. And I think what it is, for a lot of parents, it's a way for them to get a break. And I can see, especially moms, as the parents will drop their kids off, or they're there watching them. Especially in the boxing, I noticed that. The parents will sit, they have chairs set up on the side of the ring, and they just sit there and watch their kids train. And there's usually like one or two dads that are just like really, serious. And the kids, I pay attention. I just watch people. Notice the kids like look nervous, like they're worried about the scrutiny of their parents, that kind of thing. And I'm wondering, like, is he even enjoying this, or is he doing it because, like, what are the expectations? I wonder sometimes, like, what's going on. And then with the obstacle course stuff and the rock climbing, it's set up for kids, so it's not really for adults, but the adults were welcome to join. And it's not that I could really get anything out of it, except to have a little bit of fun. But one thing I noticed is if I'm participating with the kids, especially if I'm not an expert at it, it boosts their confidence. Like, look at Dad, he's falling off the thing, and look, and look, I can do it, and the kids run up there, and I just noticed that they're a little bit more bold, a little bit more daring, and a little bit more, outgoing when I'm participating and I'm out there with them, especially if I'm acting like one of the kids as opposed to the, overcritical adult that's, scrutinizing every movement that they're making. So it's just like I'm just a goofball out there having fun with them. And we all just laugh and we have a great time. And I always feel just so energized afterwards. Like, it's just fun. It's a good time. But, Dad's got to have me time too. You see in these videos, I'm training by myself. So a lot of times, I do lock myself away in the garage away from the family, and I get that time in. Then there's time for the wife. Well, how do we handle that? Well, every other couple of weekends, we encourage the kids to, do sleepovers at their friend's house. We have sleepovers at our house, and they go to their friend's house, and we all kind of arrange it so that my wife and I get a weekend alone, and I think that's important too. So where am I going with all this? It's like, number one priority, I want to spend as much time with them as possible, but you got to have time for yourself. And if you're in a long-term committed relationship, you have to have time to nurture that. So it's almost like it's all about time management. And at the end of the day, I have to go to work. And, with construction, it gets interesting because when a project starts, there's often the schedules are really flexible because there's not a ton of work. And then as they get going, the hours increase. And as a project comes to an end, usually it's crunch time and everybody winds up working 70 to 100-hour weeks. Yes, that happens. I had usually 60 hours, 70 hours is not unusual. I had a 100-hour week once. Oof, that was brutal. But that's to be expected, when these projects come to a crunch. It's just like, here we go, it's overtime. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm dealing with a 7-day-a-week project, working 2 shifts. So I'm working my morning shift and then I'm coming back in at night. And it sucks. It's really good money-wise. It's awesome because, it's overtime. But it's hard to, you get home and you don't want to train. You do. I still make myself train, but you don't want to. You don't want to spend time with the family. They come in and ask for help with your homework. I'm like, just go on Google and get the answers, like, I gotta cook dinners, it just makes participating, it just makes it a little bit harder, and you have to dig deep. But like everything, these little periods of high intensity, if you will, pass, and schedules open up, and you can do more fun stuff. I've got a bunch of vacation time saved up, so we're looking at, maybe getting the family, getting out of state. See, it's just, you take the good with the bad. Sometimes you've got to go through a little bit of hell to get to heaven, you know what I mean? And right now it's one of those time periods where everybody's got to dig deep. There's a lot going on. Still got to make time for it, though. All right, on to the comments. Ha-ha. First comment, Godlink 6743. float like a butterfly, sting like a queen. Let me clear up something simple. XY equals boy, X equals girl. It's XX, dude. When XY punches X, it's criminal. Agreed. I'm glad I'm not your daughter. Me too. My dad doesn't know my gender and might even allow me to be repeatedly punched as long as the attacker wears a dress. I think he's talking to me. I don't know. Because I don't believe that. You are obviously several fries short of a Happy Meal. Agreed. Pick a moral foundation. I think I have one. You're proving that those who stand for nothing will fall for anything. You'd actually allow this to happen to your daughter? Allow what? A boy to fight her? No. So, I think this is in response to Angry Marine Rant, boxing scandal at Olympics. Did I get the news wrong? Yeah, I made a retraction video because I had called that male boxer trans. And as it turns out, he's not trans. He was born with, what is it called? The intersex thing where they didn't know the gender at birth. But I thought it was pretty clear. Like, I made 3 videos stating that I'm not for allowing men to compete with women. So if you were born with an XY chromosome, you should not be able to compete with women. And I don't really know how to state that any simpler. So what I said was, are you talking to me? You obviously didn't watch the video. There's no way you could have, because I said that clearly 3 or 4 times in each video. And he goes on to, this is one of those ideologically possessed people. I did watch the video. The only thing worse than XY being allowed to physically assault an X, it's XX, first of all. You don't even know your own terminology. And get a medal for the criminal act it should be our fathers, not his fathers, who would ever considering allowed to be done to their own daughters. Who are you talking to? Who's arguing for that? Like, I don't even know how to respond to that, other than you didn't watch any. You couldn't have. I rewatched the videos just to make sure, I'm not crazy. So this is one of those people that just looks at thumbnails and responds. And when you talk to people like that, they can't be wrong. They'll never admit that they're wrong. And I'm stating it right now. Like, I'm not for that. I have a daughter who actually competes in boxing. She hasn't competed yet, but we're getting her license with the state, and she's training to compete. So we're in the sport. And if a boy ever got in a ring with her and I was there, I'd have some words. Like, I wouldn't allow it to happen. I would stop the fight, you know. Well, I don't know. If she got to a certain age and decided I think I was saying that there are some women who agreed knowingly to get in the ring with the trans fighters, and if they have the choice to do that. Like, that's up to them. If they're legally able to make that decision and decide to make that decision, that is absolutely their right to do so. But I would have objections, and I would say something about it for sure. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I agree with you, and thank you for the commentary. I don't know. Let's see. Next comment. Cool guy num1. Cool guy num1. You box like a lady boy from Thailand. Damn. I've been to Thailand. Could you imagine? Jeez. Thank you. I appreciate that. I wonder if I could pull that look off. Could you imagine a 220-pound lady boy with 19-inch arms coming at you? Like, hey, baby. I'm trying some of my wife's clothes. See if I can pull the look off. I don't know. Should I leave the beard? I have to shave that, huh? I think when I was younger, I definitely could have pulled that look off, for sure. But, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. They must have... If lady boys box like me, Man, I hate to box someone from Thailand. I'll probably get my butt kicked. Alright, got another lovely comment from Annie Rosen, 8274. And same video. Take another 10 minutes to do another deep research dive, and then just stick with, I'm sorry I made an ass out of myself and contributed to the horrible bullying of and transphobic attack on a woman who in no way deserved it. It's very good that you got as far as you did. No. Look, I called him trans, and he's not. So that's what I apologize for. But the rest of it, I 100% stand by. If you have an XY chromosome, you should not be competing with XX. Period. So, yeah, no. I don't know what else to say to that. I love these comments where these people just get online and they try to tell you what you think, and they tell you, you know, they tell you your stance and your position on stuff. You know, it's like, that's the comments I tend to pick on, where people just like try to put words in your mouth. Does that make sense? Those are my favorite, because I just see these little angry little troglodytes that never get away from their computer, and they just hate everybody. These angry little people. It's like online bullies. Yeah, I hate bullies. I really do. I don't like bullies in real life, but this is what bullies create. They create people that are not confident enough to speak for themselves, so they have to use the separation of a keyboard and a monitor where they're safe from repercussion, and they spew venom and hate. And those are bullies too. They don't see it, but they are. My favorite kind of people to pick on. Love it. But no, I don't feel why would I apologize for something I'm not sorry for? You know? Thank you, though. Thanks for the comment. I appreciate it. Honestly, I've just gone through like 15 comments. And, whoa! Oh, I lost my laptop. They're all the same. They're basically the same statement. You know, she's not a girl. She shouldn't be boxing. No comments on any of the other shorts or any of the other videos I posted. So there's really nothing to go through. I mean, I've already said my position on it, and I kind of want to move on. It's kind of becoming boring. I don't know. It's just not fun to talk about it anymore. I want to start painting Warhammer and doing my drawings again. I have been lazy, and it's my work schedule. I've been using that as an excuse, but it's really like I've been working, training, and sleeping, and that's pretty much it. And I feel like I'm not a whole lot of fun lately. I don't want to get back to fun. I want to get back to making fun and funny videos. Laugh at me, laugh at what I do, laugh at each other, laugh at the comments. That's what it's about, you know. Call me. I box like a lady boy. That's awesome. It's just so, I don't know. That's just I don't really have a whole lot to say. If you guys have any comments, I need you guys to start dropping me some doozies. So, you know, don't be afraid to rip your old boy up here, because I take those comments and I try to respond to them in a way that we can all get a good laugh out of. And lately, this last week, there just hasn't been much to laugh about. You know, I wonder if we as a society are not taking ourselves just a little bit too seriously with all this stuff that's going on in the world. It's interesting to me, the things that people latch onto. It becomes their identity. They become possessed by it. And these last 3 videos that I've made talking about this subject has really brought that out. I know I saw a lot of it when I was doing my Warhammer critiques. Anywhere where there's a political divide, you start seeing that. And one thing I've noticed is people are very, very adamant about their opinions, and they're not really open to discussing or hearing an opposing viewpoint. And that's what concerns me, because one of my goals is to use humor, you know, to make levity, to where we can have a discussion, and maybe we can talk about an opposing viewpoint, and we can come to the understanding that even if we don't see eye to eye and we don't completely agree with each other, we can still interact, have fun, You don't need to agree with me to hang out, you know what I mean? If I don't agree with you, I'm going to tell you I don't agree with you. That doesn't mean I don't like you. It doesn't mean I want something bad to happen to you. It doesn't mean that we can't hang out. It just means I think you're a dumbass, and here's why. You guys aren't afraid to tell me. And that's the way it should be, We've gotten into this, I don't know, people are trying to police language. And, I keep seeing this cancel culture, we're cancel. You said that, we're going to cancel them. And that is just not what this country's founded on. We're founded on free speech. So if you got an opposing viewpoint, stick with it. And if somebody disagrees with you, let them. It's okay. It's okay. Somewhere in the middle, usually we find a compromise and we get through it. And the pendulum keeps on swinging. Man, this election, I cannot believe that they nominated Kamala Harris. And what is it? Before she was vice president, and I'm going to say something that's really going to piss people off here, but 4 years when she was a district attorney of California, all I heard was that her heritage was Indian. And now that she's vice president, she's black. Yeah, well, which is it? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't trust anybody who morphs themselves to try to align or appease people that will be supporting her. It's fake. And I don't know how you don't see through that. Everybody talks about Trump and how he's a populist and he just says whatever to get whomever riled up and on his side. And having paid attention to the actual policies he pushed and passed, that's how he got my support. But as far as him as a used car salesman, we can all agree on that. But the other side does the same thing. It's I don't know, like Biden, and his support for the policies. Well, first of all, Biden's a sock puppet. Like, I don't believe that half the things that came out of his mouth he was even aware of. But if you go back, he's been in politics for so long, and there's so many videos of him saying things that were completely contradictory to what he's saying now. It doesn't make sense to me how people didn't go back and watch those and see him for the lying piece of crap that he is. And that's what I would always point out. And, we back our team so hard that we don't want to hear it. You're wrong. You're a liar. Am I? I don't know. I mean, I watched it myself. I'm just pointing it out. You can watch it too. That's all I'm saying. Like, there's nothing I've ever pointed out on my channel that I haven't, researched, read articles, watched evidence of, and then when I point it out, people tell me that I'm wrong or that it didn't happen. I'm thinking, well, why did I just watch that? Because it looks like it did. And then it makes me wonder, it's where are they getting their information from? That's the thing. It's I think the majority of us all get our information from a very narrow spectrum. And it's all, it's all prepared. It's a highly, not curtailed, what's the word I'm looking for? They pick and choose what it is you get to hear about and if you get online and you look up other countries, especially you people that have VPNs, you can use a VPN to make it look like you're in any country in the world, and you can get news outlets and information from different sources. So, for example, I can set my VPN up to be somewhere in Europe, and then I get access to their news, and I can read and watch videos about how they see America, and we get a completely opposing viewpoints. I would encourage anybody to kind of get out there and see what it is, how the world thinks about us. They think, for the most part, that all Americans are stupid, fat, lazy, and don't know anything about anyone outside of their own country. Like we couldn't point to Ukraine on a map, for example. And I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that a lot of the youth that's coming up is not very well educated, and a lot of them can't. They can't point to other countries on a map, and yet most of us are very adamant about the opinions that we have on subjects. And it just blows my mind. It's like, well, you don't know anything about what you're very adamant about. You have a very strong opinion on something that you know nothing about. Israel, Palestine's a good example. I just said Israel and Palestine, and I bet you that causes some comments. I didn't take a side. I didn't say which one I stand for. I just said those two words. So it'll be interesting to see if I get any comments on that, because people have very strong opinions, and yet when you start, asking them to back their statements up, I never get a response ever. It's interesting. I don't know. But if I have one goal, it's to kind of get us all talking and bring us all back together again. I don't see why we can't, and I think we should, and I think we need to, and I think it will solve all of our problems if we can agree to disagree. You know what I mean? And that's that. We can still be cool. That being said, I need to get to bed. Tomorrow, private training with my daughter, and I'm going to do some heavy lifting. I'll see you guys on the battlefield. Love ya.